All right, hello everybody. Today I'm going to be going over how to dynamically render images with NextJS and Firebase. So let's get right into it. Okay, so today I'm going to be going over how to dynamically render images in NextJS and Firebase with 6 very simple and easy steps. So step 1 is going to be initialize your NextJS project. Step 2, create your Firebase account and create your Firebase project within the console. Step 3, set up Firebase config in your NextJS project. Step 4, create your uploader markup, which is going to be where you're going to drag and drop images into a file uploader, press a button, and it's going to send it to Firebase. Step 5, create upload functionality. And step 6, create render functionality, which is going to be bringing the images back from Firebase into your project and rendering them the right way. Okay, so step 1, we're going to initialize our Next.js app. So we're going to go into the Next.js installation documentation and just copy paste this right here into our VS Code master file. So I have just a master file of every one of my files. If you want to create your own just base file, you can do that, but I just have like the master folder. It has everything. Okay, so I'm gonna go npx create next app. Project name, we're gonna go Firebase images. No on TypeScript, yes on ESLint, no on Tailwind, no on source directory, yes on app router, no on import alias. Okay, so we're going to now go cd Firebase images, and then we're going to do npm install, which this might not work on Mac. Okay, so if you are having issues, which I normally do on Mac, which is giving you permissions issues, all you do is sudo chown-r, your username, and then dot, space, dot. Enter your password, and then you should be good to go. npm I, wait for it all to upload. All right, now we're gonna run sudo npm I, sorry about that. Okay, great. Now we have all of our node modules and our packages run. So the next step, which didn't really list, is we're going to gut out the Next.js default boilerplate, because we don't want any of this in here, because we're going to fill it with our own stuff. We can actually keep the layout, but we want to get rid of page. Okay. So the next step in this is going to be creating your Firebase account and creating a new project within your account. So I already have a Firebase account. The steps to create a Firebase account, very simple. Just look up Google Firebase or Firebase, and it'll take you through the account setup process. You can probably just use your normal Google account. And then once you're in here, you want to create a new project. So I'm going to create a new project here. I already have an account and projects, but I'm going to create one from scratch here. We're going to call it Firebase Images. Continue. We're not going to enable Google Analytics. We don't need them. If you need them, then sure. All right, now we are in. So continue here. So now we're in our new project. So now what you want to do is you want to hit this little HTML tag here. It says web. And we're going to set up the config for our app. So Firebase Images. Let's see, can we use that? Yep, so register app. Awesome, so now we're going to install Firebase and then initialize the app in our Firebase config file. So we're gonna copy this here, and now we're going to go into our Firebase images file here and run npm I Firebase. If you don't have any permissions issues, you can just run npm I Firebase. But if you are dealing with permissions issues and you need to run sudo chown, just append or prepend sudo with this command and you should be fine. All right, and we're good. Great. Okay, so now in our app file, we're going to make a Firebase config.js file. And we're going to copy and paste all of that in here. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to actually export our database and our storage component. So within Firestore, we have many different. We have the Firestore database. We have authentication. We have all kinds of stuff in here. And so what we want to do is we want to connect to the actual image storage that we need. So we're going to do const database is equal to get Firestore of app, and then we're going to do const Firebase storage is equal to get storage of our app as well, and we want to export Firebase storage. Or actually, I'll just we want to export that, and we also want to export DB because we're going to need both of those. And we also want to import get storage. Get storage from Firebase/storage. Then we also want to import get Firestore from Firebase.firestore. Perfect. Now we're going to save that. Perfect. Okay. All right, and that was step 3. So now we're going to move on to step 4, which is emptying out the page and layout, and inputting in our markup. So what we need here is essentially we need just a file import component, a button, and then a div that is going to map through the images. So that is going to be the final markup. So we're going to just do, say, page container here. Not going to focus real hard on the markup and style. It's just going to make it super basic. We're going to do a input of file. Going to have a button here, submit image, and then below these we're going to have a image div, which is going to map through all of our images once we have that set up. So in the global.css, we're also going to get rid of all of this here. Actually, let me make that bigger. That way you guys can see. Okay, there we go. So if you guys couldn't see before, we exported our database using get Firestore, and then we exported our storage using get storage, and then we imported them from get storage, or imported them from storage and Firestore. If you guys couldn't see that before, I apologize. All right, now that we've emptied those two, that is step 4. So now step 5 is we're going to set up all of the functionality of sending the data to Firestore. So I'm going to go to localhost here, bring this over here. So now we just have super basic. We have this file, choose file section, and then we also have our submit image button, and then after we actually have images, we're going to have images that come up right here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to set up the functions. So this is going to be a client component. You can make the file dropper and file renderer a separate component. That way your whole page doesn't turn into a client component. But we're going to do it the lazy way here. So we want to import useState, useEffect from React, because we're going to use those to have our image states. So we have const image set image equal to useState null. Const is loading, set is loading, and this is going to prevent our project from having any issues like spamming the submit button. It's basically going to make it bulletproof for us. We're going to do disabled is equal to is loading. So if loading is false, then the button's going to be clickable. If it's not, then it's not going to be clickable. So now we're going to do our use effect here. And for right now, our use effect is just going to set is loading to false, because it's going to initially be true, and we are going to set is loading false. That way the button works. So now if we go up here, it's going to be disabled for a moment, and then once the use effect runs, it is then clickable once again. Okay, perfect. So now what we have to do is we have to bring in our storage components. So we want to import get download URL. We want to import list all. We want to import ref, and we want to import upload bytes. So all of these are going to help us with getting the storage to us and sending it away. I neglected to mention is we want to run npm install UUID. So what that is going to do is that is going to create unique IDs for each one of our images. That way each image has its own like really long custom URL, and they're not like very predictable by any means. So it's going to create a custom URL for everything. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're also going to, which I forgot about as well, is we're going to have our image list element. Set image list, because this element here is what we're going to get back from Firebase storage when we are getting the list of all of our images back. So we're going to also set the image list ref is going to be equal to ref of storage, which let's see, what did we name the storage? Firebase storage. Okay, so ref of Firebase storage, and then slash images. So, or wait, no, sorry, images slash. So this is going to be the folder that we actually put the image, we get the images from, and that we put the images in. And then this is our storage element from our config file here. So this is the get storage that we had previously. Okay, so now that we have this, we need to create this route right here in our Firebase storage. So what we want to do is just go to storage here, get started. We're going to start in test mode because we don't need any authentication right now. So we're just going to start in test mode. That means anybody can read and write to the database. But once you have a production build, I recommend using Firebase authentication to allow people into the page or the component that sends and relays images. And I'll make a video on that at a later time. But we're going to start in test mode. US Central. Okay, now that we have our storage here, we want to make a folder here. So we want to go to create folder, and we're just going to call it images. Perfect. So now we have that images slash folder that we referenced in our code here. Perfect. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to add the submission logic. So I'm going to start with a const submit image is equal to a function, and what we're going to do here is if image upload, or image, sorry, if image is equal to null, which means we have not set it yet, we're going to return. Otherwise, we're going to create the image ref and then send it with upload bytes. So we're going to do image ref right here is equal to ref of Firebase storage, and then we're going to do 2 backticks, images slash, and then we want to do $ in brackets. That's going to input the JavaScript inside. So we want to do image and then plus v4. So v4 we're going to import from UUID right here. So it's going to have the v4 and then import from UUID. We're going to click that, and that is a function. It's going to create the unique URL for the image, and you're not going to have a storage full of the actual image names. It's going to be full of the image names plus a very long set of characters to make it distinct. Okay, so now we're going to set is loading to true, because we don't want anybody spamming the submit button here and causing an error. And so now we're going to use upload bytes that we had earlier. So we're going to do image ref here, image, which is our image component, and we're going to retrieve that from the input here. So this we're going to set on change, and it's going to set image, but we're just we're making the function first. So this upload bytes is a promise, so it's going to be then response going to set is loading to false. So this here is what's going to upload the image. So it's going to upload this ref here, and it's going to upload the image itself. So what we need the promise part for is just setting loading to false. That way we can use the button again. Okay, so now what we're going to do is on change, we're going to set image e.target. We're going to set image to e.target.files of 0. So this is going to set the image to the last file that we uploaded. And then on here, we're going to do an on click. And what this is going to do is do submit image every time this is clicked. So now that we have all this, let's run npm run dev, and let's see how this works. Okay. Okay, so we're in here. No errors so far. Great. So we're going to click choose file. I'm just going to upload this image of GSAP here. So here's the image right here, and we're going to do submit image. And there we go. Our image has uploaded, and it is, as we can see, GSAP right here, just a random image. You can upload whatever you want. And so now what we're going to do is step 6. So that is going to be rendering the images using Firebase and NextJS. So what we're going to do is put this in the use effect here. What we want is to use the list all that we imported earlier. So we're going to use this list all here, and we're going to do image list ref, which is right here, that's the reference of our folder there. So that is a promise. So we're going to do response right there. And now response.items. So this is the array of every image that's in our storage. So we're going to do for each. I'm going to do res image, res index, and we're going to do get download URL from the res image here. And this is also a promise. So we're going to do dot then another res, or actually I'll say URL here. URL, because that's what we're getting. We're going to get the URL, and we're going to log it, log URL, and then we are also going to set image list, which is our state right here, previous right here, dot 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 previous, and then URL. Perfect. This is exactly what we need here. And then we are going to also, once this is done, this is going to be set loading false. Perfect. So in here now we're going to do our image list dot map image index, and we are now going to map each image here using the NextJS image component, because we don't want to have unoptimized images that are huge coming from the storage. We want to use the NextJS image element to make it a little easier on ourselves, because they automatically do everything for us. So I'm just going to set a width of 500. I'm also going to set a height of 500. I'm going to set a style of object fit contain or cover. Source is going to obviously be image right there. Alt is just going to be image element. Key is equal to index. This way we don't get the warning from React. And then quality, I'm just going to set to 100. So the images are going to be bigger. I believe quality is normally set to 75, but we're going to set it to 100 for this example's sake. Okay, so what this is going to do here is actually this is going to give us an error, and we're gonna look at that here in a second. Okay, so invalid source prop. So what this is saying here is that it doesn't trust the URL that we're pulling the data from. So what we have to do when we get an error like this is that we have to go to the NextJS config inside of our project here, and we have to put the proper remote patterns in here. So we're gonna go images, which is going to be an object, and then remote patterns, which is going to be an array of objects. So protocol is going to be HTTPS, and then the host name is going to be Firebase storage .google APIs or APIs.com. So what this is going to do here is this makes it so that the Next.js project trusts what we're doing, and it trusts the images that we bring for any time from this URL. Okay, so now that we've got that set up and Next.js trusts our images, now we refresh. Boom, look at that. We now have our images, and if you're wondering why there's two, because when you look in your Firebase storage, there's only going to be one, and you're wondering why in the world there are two. It's due to React development mode. So there are some issues when you're in development mode with React and Next.js that things double render like this. But once you deploy it to a production environment, this won't happen again. So if you want to, we'll test it here. We'll upload another image. Here's just an image of the Firebase logo. We'll submit it, refresh. Boom, now we have our GSAP image and our Firebase image. And it is double rendering, but there's no need to worry. Once your project's in production mode, then that won't happen ever again. If you're wondering how to do that, that was step 6. If you want an optional step 7, you can Control-C here and type Vercel and just press enter. So that is if you have Vercel installed globally on your machine and you have an account. I'll make a video of that at a later time, but that's how you would make a production build of this here. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you found value from this, please leave a like down below and subscribe. If you would like to see anything else relating to front-end web development, please comment a suggestion. If there's anything you'd like to see improved in these videos, please comment a suggestion. I would love to hear it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.